Wow, another second big trade in the NBA, the first with Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic, and that was also the first steal in my opinion. Lakers getting Luka, whether they want to keep LeBron James there or just trade him right away and start over with Luka. And then this one with the San Antonio Spurs getting De'Aaron Fox. Let me go over the details of this trade right now. The San Antonio Spurs received De'Aaron Fox and Jordan McLaughlin. The Sacramento Kings received Zach LaVine, City Sissoko. Forgive me if I didn't pronounce the name right. They got 3 first-round picks, a 2025 one from Charlotte, a 2027 one from the Spurs, a 2031 from the Minnesota Timberwolves, 3 second-round picks, which include 2025 one from Chicago, a 2028 one from the Denver Nuggets, and their own that is dated for 2028. The Bulls received Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, and their own 2025 pick from the Spurs. First off, nobody should be surprised that De'Aaron Fox got traded. There was a lot of rumors going around with him playing a role in Mike Brown being fired just before the firing happened when they lost the game and De'Aaron Fox did a foul that cost them that game. Mike Brown was being asked some questions and he was like, I know y'all asking about De'Aaron Fox because one of the reporters was saying guys aren't taking accountability, and he kind of hinted towards De'Aaron Fox being one of those players who doesn't. And so Mike Brown ended up saying, yo, it's a whole team that got to take accountability at the end of the day. Now, just for context, him and Mike Brown and De'Aaron Fox had dinner. That's what is being reported, and they talked it out. I guess just to clear the air between them. Let's move to the San Antonio Spurs side of this, though, and really get into the trade. All they gave up was Zach Collins, Trey Jones, and Kevin Huerter, essentially, to get De'Aaron Fox. I don't think they gave up any picks. I'm trying to look through this again. But either way, the fact that they didn't have to give up Devin Vassell, or even a Keldon Johnson, or another young player who's 21 and looks like he has shades of Dennis Rodman in his game, the way that he plays defense, Jeremy Sochan, Stephon Castle. None of their main core group that they're growing together, they didn't have to touch at all. And now they got De'Aaron Fox added to the mix with Victor Wembanyama. Hats off if you're a Spurs fan. This is a huge accomplishment that your team got. However, y'all do have one issue with this acquisition, and it's not a major problem by any means. It could get solved. There is a bit of a logjam at the guard position. You have Devin Vassell, Chris Paul, Stephon Castle, and now De'Aaron Fox. 4 capable guards. Although Chris Paul is obviously near the end of his career, which is why I said this is not a major issue, just something that I would be looking at. I really like Stephon Castle specifically. Very good defender, athletic, has a great playmaking IQ for finding his teammates in the right position at the right time. I think he could be a very, very great player, and there's a reason why he's deemed as untouchable. I'll play a clip that Brian Windhorst just said.
They're a big believer that Castle can be a future star. They absolutely did not want to put Castle in these talks. They were able to get this deal done without putting Castle in it. And I think also the key is Fox can extend this summer. And I don't think he goes to a place where he doesn't plan on extending. So they do this deal knowing they're going to be able to keep him long term.
I bring that up because I assume the starting lineup in the backcourt will obviously be De'Aaron Fox at point guard, Devin Vassell at shooting guard, and then you have Chris Paul coming off the bench, as well as Stephon Castle. I just think by the time Chris Paul ends up moving on, if Stephon Castle lives up to that potential I think he has, then you're blessed to have a problem where you have another guy that could really suit up and go in the starting lineup. We'll see how that works. Let me now shift my focus to De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama's games together. On paper, this is a perfect combination that you want to have, a star point guard with an elite big man, both in your starting lineup. The only small concern I would have, and again, I'm not against this. I think this is the right move by the Spurs. De'Aaron Fox is more of a combo kind of guard. That's not to say he can't play make and dish the ball, but he's more scoring minded, and I want to see how that would work with a Victor and Wembanyama. Sometimes in the past when I watched the Spurs and they had guards who would just put their head down and try to score, there's a lot of times where I saw, man, just throw the ball up to Victor Wembanyama, or he's cut into the basket for an easy dunk, and nobody is really seeing them. They're just kind of tunnel vision and they go try to score. However, De'Aaron Fox is a legitimate star player. He may know better, or he may actually finish those plays that they weren't able to when Victor was actually open. Let me go to the flip side of this trade and analyze quickly the Sacramento Kings. They got a bunch of picks out of this deal, which I think is really good when you're trying to obviously move forward and go for a rebuild. However, you got Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan back at it again on the same team. We saw how that kind of worked in Chicago when they were in the East. They're in a stronger conference right now in the West. a 500 team just before De'Aaron Fox got traded today. I'm also looking at Zach LaVine's contract. He's owed $43 million for this year, about $46 million for the year after, the 2025-26 season, and then he has a player option for almost $50 million in the 2026-27 season. I don't think he's going to turn down that player option based off of him coming off of injuries and what he's been doing. It doesn't seem like other teams would offer that huge kind of contract to him. We'll see though, I could be wrong, I guess. And then on top of that, Domantas Sabonis is locked into a huge contract each year, annually getting over $40 million up until the 2027-28 season, where he's gonna make about $50 million in that year as well. Basically, they're locked into some pretty big contracts for the next several years with those two guys. Now, if I focus on the 2025 Charlotte pick, the Hornets are at the bottom of the East. That's going to be a good pick. In 2027, the San Antonio Spurs, the pick that they have, I think the Spurs will be a good team now that they got De'Aaron Fox, so I don't know how valuable that will be. Somebody tell me in the comment section if the Kings have their own draft picks moving forward for their own team specifically. They also lost Kevin Huerter as well. I think that will low-key hurt them a little bit. Kevin Huerter, obviously somebody that can space the floor and really shoot three-pointers. And, just in the starting lineup, you still have DeRozan, not a good three-point shooter. Sabonis, not really a good three-point shooter. Where does this leave a guy like Keegan Murray? I think that's somebody who should have just had the floor to really develop. Now you add DeRozan back with Zach LaVine. It's just clustered. That's what it feels like with this lineup and the roster that they're doing. Something else too, who is the point guard on this team? I know we're in this era where everybody just dribbles the ball and plays point guard or some type of point forward, or you have a big man that the team is running the plays through where he's looking for cutters and playing some type of knockoff version of what Nikola Jokic does exceptionally well, but you need a point guard. Lastly, the Chicago Bulls, they got Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, a 2025 pick of their own back. It just looks like they're trying to clear some cap space and eventually move to the inevitable rebuild that's going to happen, which makes me wonder, where's Nikola Vucevic going? For a guy averaging pretty much 20 points and 10 rebounds, he has a very reasonable, cheap kind of contract, just about $20 million compared to what other players are doing and what he could offer. There's a contender out there who needs somebody like this. Maybe a Lakers if they decide to keep a LeBron, package a Austin Reeves, I don't know, a Rui, and go get Vucevic. It's going to be interesting. He's the main piece, or the last one. I want to see where he ends up going, or if he just stays with the team. Y'all let me know in the comment section what you're thinking about all of this, including everything that's been happening so far as we lead up to the trade deadline. Which other teams are going to make any moves? Jimmy Butler, that's the next one that I'm looking for. All right, salute for listening, like, share, and subscribe, and as always, peace.